Yo, 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 you already know what it is. You already know what it do. Welcome back to the Broken Mute Button Network. As always, you are now tuned into Rumble Ready Fight Podcast. Talk to me, Kiki. What we doing, man?
We're gonna be listen. Gloves coming off, so let's get straight to it.
So
A
hold
lot
on
of people.
before you get to that. I need somebody to tell me what is a legend. That's all I want to know. What is a legend?
I have a
What is
question
a
too.
legend?
I want someone in the someone part of in the boxing community to let me know. Do they feel like a full a full weight a full damn, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, a champion in four different weight classes. Do they belong in a Hall of Fame?
Do you consider all Hall of Famers legends?
Do I consider all Hall of Famers legends? Um, Not all, but I believe people who were inducted in the Hall of Fame uh helped the sport out in a huge way. I mean, they did
Yeah.
enough work to get inside to get introduced into the Hall of Fame, because you could listen, you could qualify, you could be eligible for the Hall of Fame and not be inducted.
Okay. Um, but does that make them a legend though? That's the question I'm asking.
Um, that's a good question. It's not more so just make them a legend. It's about respecting their accomplishments in the sport. That's what
Yeah.
it's more so about. It's about accomplishments.
Okay.
It's not whether a fighter is a legend or not. It's about what that fighter, his commitment to the sport and what he did in the sport of boxing.
Okay.
Accomplishment.
All right. So right now, the reason why we asking this question, people that's tuning in while we started off this show, is because me and Kiki have been going back and forth for months now about Adrien Broner's status as a legend in the sport of boxing. I believe he's not a legend. Kiki believes that he is a legend. I don't think he's a legend. So I want you. The reason why I don't think he's a legend, I'm gonna give my reason why. Then you can give yours after. I see
Uh-huh.
Scatty. Shout out to Scatty. I see you in the comments right now. You said AB is 1,000% a Hall of Famer. Okay, cool. I agree. He's a Hall of Famer. He was the youngest to win belts in 3 divisions or something like that. Or the youngest to win belts in 3 divisions, some shit like that. Um, cool. You got people who got other accolades that's not the youngest, but have done more for the sport of boxing. But my thing is like, if you had sit down and have a conversation with boxing with somebody, I feel like you will mention legendary names. Like if you was to say, for example, name your top 10 favorite boxers, you're not going to mention Adrien Broner. Even if you have a mix up of different names, even if niggas want to say Aaron Pryor, Willie Pep, which is not names that you would normally hear in like people's top 5. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like you would hear those names before Adrien Broner. You know what I'm saying? I feel like when you're a legend in boxing, your name is synonymous to boxing. When you think of a casual would know your name and automatically, oh yeah, I've watched this fight. You can't tell me a casual is going to sit here and be like, yeah, 10 years later, you're going to be like, yeah, boxing, what you think about the sport of boxing? You have a conversation. Somebody's going to bring up Broner as one of the legends in the conversation. You're going to, of course, you're going to hear names like Floyd Mayweather. You're going to hear names like Mike Tyson. You're going to hear names like Muhammad Ali. You're going to hear names like Roy Jones, Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya. But you're not going to hear Adrien Broner ever in none of these conversations. That's what I think a legend is. A legend is always going to be in a conversation. Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson. You know what I'm saying? Canelo. You know what I'm saying? But I do not feel
Hmm.
like Broner would ever is not synonymous to boxing, and I feel like Broner would never ever be in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So what you think? Your camera off too.
Well, I like how you threw in there and how you told our boxing community that I think Adrian Broner is a legend in the sport. I never said that. I
Scatty is
said
here, just so
Adrian.
you
I
know, and
said,
he saw you type it. He saw you send the message.
well,
Go ahead.
if I type something, I stand corrected. I never said that Adrian Broner was a living legend. What I said was he's eligible and he qualifies to be a Hall of Famer. That's what I
Yeah,
said, because he's a full time um world champion. That's what I
yeah.
said. That's why
Okay.
I sent you even proof of Alexis Aguelo. He's a 3-time division champion, and he made it. I don't think he's a legend in the sport, but he was eligible. He qualified to he was eligible for the Hall of Fame, and he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. Just because you're eligible for the Hall of Fame doesn't mean you'll be inducted in the Hall of Fame.
You just literally just agreed with me. So you're saying Adrien Broner's not a legend. He's just
I
a guy who's a
listen.
Hall of Famer.
I no. You spoke about legends first. Again, you said that I
Okay.
said Adrian Broden was. I never said he was a legend. I don't consider
Yes, you did,
Alexis
bro.
Aguelo a legend. But again, he qualified to become inducted in the Hall of Fame because of his accomplishments. That's what I
Yeah.
said. Broner's a
Uh-huh.
different 4-time world champion. Alexis Aguelo is a 3-time world champion. And
Yeah.
again, I don't see him as a legend in the sport, but again, he was eligible. He qualified to be a Hall of Famer, and inducted as a Hall of
Yeah.
Famer. That's what I said.
Yeah. Shout out to my baby mom. She's in the comments right now.
Oh, tell her what's going on, sis. How you doing, sis?
This is for my the oldest one.
Okay. How you
Yeah,
doing,
she in
sis? Gotta watch them, sis. You tried to, a little
there.
wordplay.
Bro, you did say
Uh-huh.
that, bro. It's literally
Little
in
word.
writing.
No, I
Yo,
didn't.
next week, y'all, I'm gonna screenshot it and bring it on the show where he said it
Let's
because
go.
he brought
And
the
let's
reason
go.
why he brought Alexis Anguelo up because he said that shit and I said legend. He wasn't a legend. Now he's trying to flip the shit on the
I
screen.
never said what did can I ask you a question? All right. I'm gonna give you a good example, right?
Okay.
Again, I'm a huge fan of Jamel Charlo. He was an undisputed champion. He held all 4 titles at 154. Okay, does that make him a legend? A legend in the sport? No, but
That was a
you have to respect his accomplishments, though. His
yeah.
accomplishments is what makes him eligible, you know, to become inducted in the Hall of Fame because he was undisputed in the 4-belt era.
Well, you would never hear me say that nigga's a motherfucking legend. So that was
But
kind of like a bad example for me.
he can also be inducted in the Hall of Fame because of his accomplishments. You can't knock nobody accomplishments.
That's fine. You have the accomplishments, but the thing is, we talk about legends, bro.
Well, to
You
be
know what I'm
honest, there's
saying?
not a lot of legends in the sport of boxing.
Well,
I mean, especially
yeah,
like
we'll
not
see.
like now. I mean, with a sport where it's not even competitive like how it was back in the day. Everybody's prize fighting now. Everybody just
Mm-hmm.
looking for the dollar now in the sport of boxing. So boxing
Yeah,
is
no,
more
that's fair.
so about marketing now. Again,
Yeah,
people accomplishments are was getting them inducted in the Hall of Fame, not whether they're a legend or not.
I
I mean, it's us, the
let me tell
fans,
you.
that give these boxers these legendary statuses and things like that. It's us. A
Yeah,
boxer can't call
so I
themselves a
got.
legend. Us, we the fans have to give a fighter that title.
Well, nobody's ever gonna call him a legend. So
I mean, you have people that
Adrien
might.
Broner a
You have
legend.
people.
So
You have different. Again, when you're a fan of the sport of boxing, it's like a lot of people. Yeah,
yeah,
Broner wasn't the best fighter out there, but Broner did have his time in boxing when he did rule. When the machine was behind
yeah,
Broner. You talk about Adrian Broner, who was deemed the next Floyd Mayweather. We can't forget about that. When we talk about
yeah.
Adrian Broner, he had
Mm-hmm.
setbacks. He lacked discipline, but in the ring, he was a great fighter. He was a really, really good fighter,
My
but he
baby
just
mom
didn't have
said,
discipline.
hold on, bro, hold on. My baby mom's just put in the comments that Prince Nassim Hamed is a legend. Do you agree with that?
Again, I don't say a legend, but you have to respect Prince Nassim Hamed's skills. Um,
He might be
um,
a legend
I
in
mean,
England, but
again,
not here.
maybe to a group, a strong, he might have a strong following where he live at. He might be a legend to his people. Manny Pacquiao is a
Yeah.
legend to a lot of Filipinos and some American fighters. American fighters look at Floyd Mayweather as a legend. Okay, you got people that look at Tyson Fury in England as a living legend. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Uh it depends on it depends on a fighter. It definitely depends on a fighter. and his home base, and how strong his home base is. Again, it's us boxing fans that give these fighters these titles.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Roy Jones is definitely a legend. All right, so Scotty, he said that AB is not even top 100 ever, but he is a Hall of Famer. But in every sport, there's Hall of Famers that aren't anybody's that's top 50. I agree with that.
I agree.
Um,
I totally agree.
yeah. Um, I mean, that's fair. That's fair, Scotty. Because Scotty said you aren't considered a legend until years after your post career, and people look back and give you your flowers. Now, when you go back and look at Adrien Broner's career, you got to sit there. Now we got to start looking at how he fought since the Maidana loss. You know what I'm saying?
But,
With the Maidana loss, after that, he kind of looked like he had stage fright. You saw how he fought the Pacquiao fight. He didn't want to throw his hands. The nigga, you going to look? You have to look at the fights where he lost to Blair Cobb. You know what I'm saying?
well, when you talking about a Broner that fought Blair Cobb, that's not the same Broner that we know at 135 when he was in his prime. It's a
Yeah.
different kind of Broner. Again, this Broner that we're talking about nowadays he lacks discipline.
Yeah.
Okay, most of his team then gave up on him already. You know, the sports, still tried to help the man out, but it's too late. He lacks discipline. He's scared to let his hands go. So you can't
Mm-hmm.
compare the Broner of 2020 3, 24, 25 to the Broner that was in his prime. You
Yeah.
can't, it's no comparison. But again, when he was in his prime,
Mm-hmm.
he made things happen for his career.
Yeah. I don't think Broner's a legend because of the gimmick. That's what my baby mom said. I don't think a gimmick can make you a legend because you have a lot of people with gimmicks that don't make it anywhere, and you got some people with gimmicks now that you kind of could see that's probably just all hype for now. For example, Ben Whitaker. Do you think Ben Whitaker is going to be eventually? I mean, it could turn around, but I don't think right now he's poised to be a legend. But he got all the gimmicks in the world. He got all the
Well,
charisma. You know what I'm saying? That's the word I'm looking for.
when you talk about gimmicks, right? A lot of these fighters that have gimmicks, that's about marketing, and that's
Yeah,
all about selling tickets, man. Like
Teofimo's a gimmick. You know what I'm
he
saying?
he's a gimmick.
Yeah,
Floyd Mayweather, he was a gimmick. He would act ignorant a lot of times in the ring, so that way you have fans who dislike him. You have fans
yeah,
who like him. Either way, you're gonna pay to see him win, or you're gonna pay to see him lose. It
yeah,
was a
yeah,
gimmick. Adrian Broner, he had a gimmick.
yeah.
Rolando Rowley, he has a gimmick.
Rolly
Okay?
100% had a gimmick.
And Rowley is how many times has he been champion? How many title
who
fights has he been in? Rowley.
who Rolly's been champion a few times.
All right, then, but that would make Rowley also eligible to be inducted in the Hall of Fame because of his accomplishments. Not
Yeah,
saying he's a legend, but because of
but not a legend.
because
Yeah,
of the things he's accomplished. Again, like you said, it's about paying homage and later on down the years and just giving fighters their flowers for what they did for the sport. That's
yeah,
what it's.
yeah,
But again, gimmicks have always been a part of boxing. It's easy to market. Remember, Bob Arum would tell Buck Crawford, like, yo, you got to have personality or something like that. They want him to act a fool because they saying
yeah,
that he can't sell and it's bad for marketing. A
yeah,
lot. That's why a lot of Andre Ward was one of those fighters that felt like I don't got to act a fool to sell. I don't need a gimmick to sell. I could be respectful towards my opponent, and we can sell like that. You have fighters that stand on things like that. They don't
yeah,
want to portray themselves as acting ignorant, a gimmick, just to promote a fight. You still, old school though. But then again, you
yeah,
have those that don't care. That
yeah,
really don't care. And again, like as you mentioned, T.O. is one of those fighters that has a gimmick.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Yeah. So my cousin in there said, hey, cuz, who you saying avoided big contenders? Are you saying Adrian Broner avoided contenders? Let me know what you said. Who you talking about, so we could talk about it.
Well, I never heard any stories about AB ducking
Yeah,
anybody.
yeah. He
I've
went there, he
never
took it.
heard
Yeah,
him
I've never
ducking
heard that
anybody.
either. I've
I've
never heard
never
that
heard
either.
that. I don't care how much somebody dislike AB. I've never heard about AB ducking smoke.
Yeah,
Never,
I've never heard that
never
either.
heard that.
Yeah, that might be a stretch right there.
That might be a
Um,
reach.
Oh, he's saying AB? Nah, that's not. I don't agree with that. AB went there, took that ass whooping from Pacquiao and
That's
Maidana
a
like a man,
that's a fact.
and
That's
Blair
a
Cobb.
fact.
He lost to somebody else too. Who else he lost to? Mikey Garcia, right?
He lost to Mikey Garcia, but if he would have let his hands go early in the fight, he would have won. He started letting his hands go towards the end of the fight, and I was saying to myself, "Oh my gosh, like where was this Broner in the beginning of the fight? If he would have
Yeah,
fought how he was fighting towards the end, he
yeah,
would have won that bout. I would have seen him beating Mikey Garcia
yeah,
easily, bro.
yeah,
But let's not forget
yeah,
he also lost to Sean Porter too.
yeah. He lost to
Not
Sean
Porter
Porter too.
down though. Not Porter down with a left hook, but he
Hmm.
lost to Sean Porter too. You asked me, I believe that Paulie Malignaggi beat him too, but a lot of people say, they say different. All I'm saying is when you're fighting a champion, you have to beat a champion convincingly, and that's just
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
I feel like Broner didn't do enough to take Malignaggi's title. He might have took his girl, but he ain't do enough to take that title. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I
yeah,
believe
yeah.
they gave it to Broner because again he was being marketed. He was the next thing, the next best thing, and he was marketed
Floyd,
and branded to
Floyd
be the next
Mayweather,
Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather Senior said he ain't that good. That boy don't even move his goddamn head. Said that boy don't even move his goddamn head.
Roger Mayweather. Most people don't know shit about boxing.
Hell yeah! So with that being said, Devin Haney could be heading down this path.
I believe we gotta again like it's a psychological thing after a loss. Let's not forget he fought a fighter.
Scotty said AB beat Paulie.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree. But again, Rumble Ready Boxing, we respect all of we love facts and we also respect opinions. So,
Yeah,
we
definitely,
can agree to
definitely.
disagree. But I believe Devin Haney, I didn't give up on Devin Haney. Again, before he fought a Ryan Garcia who was on PEDs who also came in heavier than him.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
much respect to Devin. I mean, it's always going to be tougher because a lot of people don't like his dad. And, it's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scene with them Haneys. It's to the point where the Haneys, these last couple, I would say the last 5 years have finally gotten where they needed to be in boxing. I
Yeah,
believe that being blackballed and Devin's career really didn't take off because because of his father's mouth. But, he has a
he the
strong
Lonzo Ball.
mind.
He the LeVar Ball of boxing.
That's a fact. That's the absolute fact. That's the absolute fact. And I believe, his father has gotten him pretty far in the boxing game, and much respect to Bill. But
Yeah.
sometimes Bill needs to just shut the hell up sometime, man. For real.
Yeah, he do.
He just
And
needs to
he
just
need
be
to shut the
quiet and
fuck
humble
up.
himself.
Floyd Schofield Sr. need to shut the
And I
fuck up.
believe Devin needs another trainer. He needs to be in there.
Yeah.
And I remember his father being a fighter. His father's record wasn't. His father's record wasn't too good. It looked like he might have got hit one time and said, "Fuck this shit. I'm gonna let my son do this shit." Because that's what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
again, boxing, when the fighters come off for L, it's about confidence. And
Yeah.
that's why it's important that, right after when a fighter comes off a loss, that you match that fighter carefully to slowly but surely build his confidence back up. That's what they doing with Jamal.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, they building his confidence back up. They're putting him in fighters with in there he's supposed to beat, so that way he can get his confidence built back up. I believe Devin Haney, he's gonna bounce back. In the fight, he started his last fight. He started off slow. I wanted Devin to let his hands go, throw his combinations, work behind his jab like he usually does. He didn't do it in the beginning, but towards middle of the fight, towards the end, he started letting his hands go, and I was happy to see that.
Yeah, but either way, like if he doesn't get snap out of it, because if you want to go down as one of the greats take L's and they come back and fight like they didn't
I
take
mean,
that
all
L
the greats,
previously,
all
so
the
he
people
has
who
to.
considered greats and legends in the sport all have L's. Sugar Ray Leonard has L's.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tyson has L's. Muhammad Ali
Ali.
has L's.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, who else? Again, there's only one fighter who don't have no L, and that's Floyd Mayweather. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying?
I
Much
mean,
respect.
there's others
And
you could count like
he
Rocky
fought everybody in
Marciano,
his prime.
Andre
He fought
Ward
everyone in his
was
prime.
had retired.
Andre, well, I'm gonna be honest. I believe he lost that first fight with Kovalev.
But it ain't on the record, so we
You
can't.
gotta be the
Some
champion. He
people,
moved up.
if that's the case, if you saying that, people going to tell you that Floyd lost the first fight to Castillo. So I
Oh,
wouldn't even
I
use
mean
that as an argument.
that's always been a toss up. We could definitely feel that way. But I love the if people felt like Castillo won that first fight, just know Floyd ran that shit right back and sealed that deal.
Yeah,
You
for
can't talk
sure.
about Castillo. Yeah, he might have beaten Floyd the first fight. He ran that shit right back the second fight. For
Yeah,
fans who felt that way, he gave them clarity. Now I beat him
yeah,
convincingly. Now what?
yeah, yeah. What's the name? My cousin said that it was better and tougher fighters those days. The fighters were definitely tougher
It
back then
was. It
because
was.
they
It was
weren't
way more
afraid to fight each
competitive.
other.
Like if you were the best, I was the best. We fought each other.
Yeah,
These
for
fighters
sure.
are so stuck on the business aspect of things. Like you telling me, I'm gonna give you a good example. Devin Haney at the time, he was an undisputed champion. You know, he gave Shakur
Yeah.
Stevenson the opportunity, one of the lifetime opportunity that was given to him. You telling me you didn't want to take short
Mm-hmm.
paper to go into a fight, an
Yeah.
undisputed fight with Devin Haney, a fighter who you claim you can beat? You didn't take less money for the win? Like how do you would
Yeah.
have been on top of the game, but you negotiated yourself
Yeah.
out of a contract because you didn't want to take shorts? What? Whatever happened to fighters taking sacrifices? I mean, Floyd even took sacrifices when he went up and fought Oscar De La Hoya. He said Oscar De La Hoya chose the ring
Yep.
size. He got the bigger purse. He
Yeah.
chose the gloves. But Floyd said he took the
Yep.
fight because he could beat him. Devin Haney said he took the fight with Kambosos, gave Kambosos everything he won, including the rematch in
Yep.
Australia.
That's
Because
true.
he knew,
Yep.
because
Yep.
he
Even the
knew he
rematch
can
after he
beat
won
him.
in
Everybody said,
Australia.
"Yo,
Yep.
that's a fucked up deal Haney took." But Haney made sacrifices for his career. And now he's going down as
So he could be A side.
an undisputed champion. He's
Yeah.
eligible to be inducted, when his career is over, into the Hall of Fame because of his
Yeah.
credentials.
He needs to chase legendary status now, and he has to snap out of whatever he got going on. Maybe he need to sit down on a couch and talk to a shrink or something. To kind of like maybe it's mental. It is definitely mental.
It's
It's
a
always mental.
psychological
So
thing
yeah.
when you have
Mm-hmm.
a L on your record for the first time. Again, even though his L was it was given back, even though his O was given back to him. It's still that
Yeah.
thought in the back of your head at the end of a fight. A judge can raise another opponent's hand because now you have that thought that you
Yeah.
can lose. You have that
Yeah.
when you're undefeated, you're not thinking about losing. Who the fuck
You're not
about
thinking
an
about
L
that shit.
when you whooping
Well,
everybody
actually, I don't
ass?
want to. Actually, I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that because these dudes are protecting their O at all costs right now. So they do know they are worried about their O.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
having a loss, and that's the problem. People feel like, oh, Floyd messed us up in boxing, but no, I want to piggyback off of what I've heard Frank Martin say in an interview. Like, it's only a lot, to be honest, African American fighters. We just so happen, as soon as an African American fighter get a loss on their record, it's kind of like we shame them.
Yeah.
Mexican boxing community, they still love Canelo. They love Chavez. They Puerto
Mm-hmm.
Rican community, they still love Miguel Cotto. We the only ones that kind of talk in
Trinidad.
Trinidad. We the only ones that kind of talk down about fighters when they catch an L. A L is not a loss. A L is a lesson. There's no such thing as if you can accept winning the box, you got to be able to accept the lesson too. There's no such thing
Yeah.
as a loss, as a
Mm-hmm.
lesson. You go back to the drawing board, you figure it out, you figure out what you did wrong, you make the adjustments, and then you can get your L back in a rematch of anything. But
Yeah,
a
that's a
loss
fact.
to that.
Scotty, Scotty said Devin deserves all the respect. If the rest of the peers had the Devin's mindset we see super fights, I
Absolutely,
do agree with that because I
absolutely,
do agree with that
absolutely.
because Devin, no matter what you say about him, even if you think he's trash or whatever, he ain't
Ain't
ducking no
dunk no
smoke. He's trying to
smoke.
sign these contracts and
Between
fight
him and
anybody.
Ryan, again, I don't, how I feel about people testing positive for substance. I believe damn well what's going on in your body, but much respect to Ryan when it comes down to making these big fights happen. He's another one who
Yeah,
when he's calling you out, he's making fights happen. Unlike Teofimo, he's attaching his name to other fighters, and when it comes down to contracts being signed, there's always a falling out. Come
yeah.
on, it's
Every
like it's
time, never
always a
fails.
falling out. At least when we have fighters like, even when you had Ryan calling out. Ryan, most of the people Ryan call out, he's fought. He has gotten a
Yeah,
contract done.
be
He
honest with you.
fought.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, Haney
Yeah, to be
too.
honest with
Haney
you,
too.
yeah.
Much respect to them. Again, if fighters had that same fighting spirit that they had, back in the days, years
If
from
Tank
now,
had that, if Tank had that spirit, he would have lost to Loma a long time ago.
that's why he was
That's
carefully
my
matched.
opinion.
He was carefully matched. You remember when him and Floyd had an issue
Yeah.
and Floyd Mayweather allegedly contacted Bob Arum for that fight to happen? You know what Bob said? Well, Floyd did contact me for the fight to happen. He must have been mad at Davis. As if
Oh
Floyd
wow.
called him because he wanted to make sure Tank get his ass whipped. Facts.
Well, he was going to get his ass whipped. That's definitely what was going to
Loma,
happen. Let's keep
that's
it
a
100.
fact. If they would have fought years ago, Loma, his angles, it's when people
Mm-hmm.
think about Loma's angles, right? Loma has great offense, defense, but what gives him those angles is that footwork. It's his fucking
Yeah.
footwork. Manny Pacquiao had
Mm-hmm.
great footwork. That's why he was able to dart in,
Mm-hmm.
dart out. Lumachenko, when you have good footwork, you're able to dart in, dart out, left,
And remember
right,
what?
and you just
And
hitting it. And
what?
then your
Remember?
southpaw
Remember
too.
what I tell you about them leg
And then your
fighters, though.
southpaw
Remember what I
too.
tell you about them leg
And
fighters, though. When them
and
leg
them
fighters,
southpaws come.
when them leg,
If you're
yeah,
southpaw, you're fighting an orthodox fighter that's not used to southpaw angles. That's why a lot of southpaws give
yeah,
orthodox fighters a problem because you don't have a lot of southpaw fighters in boxing. You come across more orthodox
yeah,
fighters. So when you're
yeah.
a southpaw fighter and you have good footwork, you're a problem, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're a fucking problem.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see that left. A lot of people don't see that left coming, but Haney, he just has a problem with that left hand, period, because you don't have to be a southpaw to hurt him. Ryan came in orthodox and he hurt him with the left hook. Linares, another
Yeah.
fighter who was an orthodox fighter, who also hurt Devin
Hurt his
Haney with a
ass
left
too.
hook at the end of the bell. You know? So,
Yeah.
Devin just has to keep his right hand up, bro. Just keep your right
Yeah, for
hand up. I
sure.
mean, take a page out of Rolly's book. Rolly, when I seen that fight when he fought Ryan, I see how patient Rolly was. He kept his hand up,
Yep.
he took his time, and he countered, boop, and Ryan didn't even look as fast as he did when he fought
Rolly,
Haney. Ryan looked
Rolly knew
slow.
from yeah. Look, hey, Osterman, small percentage. What we talking
Yeah,
about here?
yeah.
All right, so what's the name? Canelo in this camp, bro. 6 failed drug tests. You know what I'm saying? Like we do. Do we need to have an investigation? Oscar De La Hoya did his
I
clapback
seen that.
Thursdays. It said his camp failed 6 drug tests. He said Manguia never failed a drug test when he was with him, and as soon as he
Reynoso.
goes over to Canelo's camp, to Reynoso's camp, he fails a drug test. As soon as he goes over there, what did that tell you?
It tells you that speaks volumes. Everybody in Canelo's camp pops dirty. Damn right it should be an investigation. Absolutely.
Yeah, they should ban the whole damn camp. You in your
Absolutely.
eyes.
And I'm just getting tired. Like I'm so tired of these commissions putting these fighters' lives on the line. How the fuck you telling me you find out a fighter tests positive for a substance after the fact? After the fight is fought. Like,
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah.
you receive
UFC, they know
test
before.
results before fighters getting in the ring? I thought that was the whole point of random testing, to make sure
Yeah.
fighters are clean before getting in that ring.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's
Nigga,
after the fact.
UFC.
Now wait, what? How is that protecting the fighter? How is that protecting the fighter
Yeah.
if you're finding out they test positive after the fucking fight?
That's
This is
not
not
protecting
protecting.
them. It's
That's
not
crazy.
protecting them. See, the UFC, that's what's dope about the UFC, because not only they drug test before and after the fight, but you get random drug tests any day throughout the year. As long as you're in UFC contract and you're the fighting
Yep.
pool, you get drug tested regardless. It could happen randomly. Even if you don't even have a fight scheduled, you could get drug
Well,
tested in the
that's
UFC.
allegedly that's how VADA is supposed to work when fighters get tested all year round. But then
Mm-hmm.
again, to me, it's hypocritical because you have a guy by the name of Victor Conti who part of the Blocko scandal. He has full access to all of this information about VADA and what? That to me that makes no
Mm-hmm.
sense. You're talking about a former drug chief
Mm-hmm.
who has access to VADA and can manipulate tests. His whole mastery is to manipulate tests. Okay, it's
Yeah.
to make fighters pop negative. That's his whole stilo. That's the whole
Yeah.
thing. A person, even with the jail behind it, he did time behind it. And a lot of times, people come home and get back into certain things to master it. Now they feel like they do it even
Yeah.
smarter. They sit there with all that time on
Yeah.
their hands to figure out what they did wrong. Now, how can
No, yeah,
how
for
can
sure.
you even have somebody like Victor Conti even handling blood and urine samples? How?
hmm
And me, as
He
a fighter
shouldn't be.
myself, I
He
would
definitely
never
shouldn't
want
be
to be associated with a person like that. How can you not
at all.
question snack fighters? But we gonna see it's gonna be snack versus whatever fucking drugs they got over there, the Canelo team in September. We gonna see who drugs is better. Cause again,
What with Canelo? yo, yo, Crawford ain't been popped or caught or accused of anything, bro. Like, come on, bro. Man, you gotta let that Spence loss go, bro. You gotta let it go.
I'm just
So
talking
this
about
weekend, this
snack
weekend,
snack fighters in general. Like again,
yeah,
watching the Victor Conti's documentary series, right? If you're a good fighter,
mm-hmm.
right? Athletes always went to Victor Conti because they always wanted to have that edge. Okay, that
Yeah,
edge, especially in boxing, is if you're a great fighter, you want to become an elite fighter. Okay, so people will
yeah,
go to him to get that elite status. So
uh-huh,
that's why people
yeah,
would go to
facts.
Victor Conti. He would give them a cycling period. He would have them cycle on certain drugs and told them not to take it. And he was really good at manipulating the test.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Yeah, so we got this weekend, we got Hitchens and Cambosa.
um,
They're over there
I
acting
mean, yo,
crazy.
very unprofessional on
Uh-huh.
Hitchison's part. I hate the fact that they go out there acting a fool now, especially right after this whole Keyshawn Davis spill. Hitchison's out
Yeah.
there, pulling money out of his bag. And this shit is not the streets, man. You out there
Corny shit.
carrying
Corny
on,
shit.
using the N word in front of these folks. Like, yo, come on, man. Stop acting.
Corny
You ain't
shit.
gotta act ignorant, man. That's what they expect us to act like animals, and,
Uh-huh.
and, and so double standard because they could do it, but when we do it, it just looks worse. Okay, Conor McGregor does it all the
Yeah.
time.
We're
When we do
thugs.
it,
We're
it
thugs and
just
all
looks
that shit.
horrible. I wish fighters would get back into being professional. Professionalism is very, very important. I mean, when young African American fighters act like that, they make it hard for promoters to want to promote other young African American fighters.
That's a fact. I agree with that. Um, let's get into the chat GPT
Let's
segment of the
go.
show, man. All right, y'all. This is gonna be the Adrien Broner special. So all of these is gonna be Adrien Broner. All right. Oh shit, I didn't mean to put that up. I didn't mean to put that up. That's gonna be for another show, y'all. All right, so first one, what we got? Adrien Broner versus Zab Judah. Who will
Zab Judah in
win?
this prom. Zab was too fast. He was too sharp. I'm not talking about the Zab who got knocked out. I'm talking about that Zab before the knockout. Look at Zab Judah before when he was undefeated before the Kasazu loss. Look at that Zab Judah, and that Zab Judah was a fucking
that
problem. A problem.
nigga, that nigga Scatty. That nigga Scatty said, "Talk, Kiki, talk,"
That was the problem.
and he agreed with what you said.
Zab was the problem.
No, he was talking about the
Oh,
steroid
okay,
shit.
that too. Yeah.
All right, so Prime Zab at 140 welterweight, Broner at lightweight. That was his prime. That's what they say in his prime. So it's probably a catchweight somewhere if they had it. Judah is one of the fastest ever. Broner better show defense when focused. So that means when he ain't drinking and smoking and doing all types of dumb shit. All right, let's get to the fight scenario. All right, we got is they saying that 140 prime versions. Rounds 1 through 4. Fast start. Judah starts lightning fast, using speed and angles to confuse Broner. And then Broner is a slow starter and tries to shell up early, giving away rounds. I can see that happening. Mid round shift. Rounds 5 through 8. Broner lands some sharp counters as Judah begins to slow. If Broner lets his hands go, he can hurt jab, but he often stays way too passive. That's what you was talking about. Judah could be dropped if he gets Wilder caught leaning. Now, rounds 9 through 6, mental and physical check. Judah has a history of fading late. Broner takes advantage, controlling pace and landing clean counters. And then Broner could steal the later round and make it a very close scorecard. So what they got, what ChatGPT has for the final verdict, they have Zab Judah wins by split decision 115, 113, 113, 115, 115, 113. Or Broner wins by a late rally if he stays active by split decision or majority decision. The fight goes either way. It depends on which Broner shows up. And then Judah, if he fades and gets frustrated, Broner capitalizes. Yep. Yeah, but they got a slight edge to Judah 55-45 based on speed, southpaw style, and the early work rate.
I would have Zab Judah winning that fight unanimously.
You got Zab
I would have him winning that. Because again, the Zab Judah before the Katsuzu loss, he was in shape training. Oh look, they took the Zab Judah that's a front runner. That's Zab Judah.
Can you see Scatty message on the screen? I just learned that we could put the nigga's message on the screen.
Drugs is better as crazy work. Last week, they should have called Victor. Wow.
Oh, you saw
looking at it right now.
Another message from Scatty right here. Whose drugs is better is crazy work. That's funny as hell. All right, let's move on to the next one, man. What we got here? Adrien Broner versus Miguel Cotto.
Yeah, nah, Cotto. Cotto. Definitely Cotto.
I definitely got Cotto too. I feel like it would be fairly similar to the Maidana fight.
I got Cotto. Oh, wait a minute. That's a dream. I would love to see who you think will win in a Cotto versus Madonna. That would be a nice fight.
Probably Cotto because of his style. You know what I'm saying? He going in, bro. Probably Cotto.
Good matchup though. Cotto versus.
Yeah. All right, so let's see what they got here for Broner versus Cotto on ChatGPT. Early rounds 1 through 4. Broner tries to time counters while hiding behind the shell. Cotto jabs, then starts digging hooks to the body, cutting off the ring. Broner doesn't throw enough to keep Cotto honest. Mid rounds, Cotto turns up the heat. His body work begins to breaking down Broner. Broner absorbs damage, but stays shelled up, not doing enough offensively. I can 100% see that happening. Cotto is too disciplined and too strong for Broner to keep him off. Late rounds, Broner may still be standing, but he's getting outwork and possibly hurt to the body. If it's at 147, there's a good chance Cotto stops him late. If it's at 140, Broner survives but loses a wide decision. Final verdict, Miguel Cotto wins by unanimous decision 117-111 or wider margin. That's crazy. And then it says late TKO stoppage in round 10 to 12. That's another option. And they say why. Broner has never handled volume pressure fighters well. Maidana, Porter, Pacquiao. Cotto was technically sound, stronger, and more committed to attacking the body than any of them. And then Broner's low output and lack of foot movement would be his downfall. Could Broner win? Unlikely, unless Cotto walked into a perfect counter and got hurt, which showed vulnerability to which he has showed vulnerability to against bigger punches. Broner doesn't throw enough and have enough power to keep Cotto off. I agree with that shit. So, yep. So, yeah, he said, Cotto. It's pretty much saying Cotto stops him with ease. No, not even close. He doesn't even have a fucking chance against Cotto. That's what ChatGPT is saying, and I actually kind of agree with that. All right, let's move to the next one. What we got here? Adrien Broner versus Meldrick Taylor.
Yeah, I got Meldrick Taylor.
You got Meldrick Taylor, Olympic style,
right?
Scoring points. Yeah, because Broner would be way too passive.
I don't even think Broner would be able to stand in the ring with Chavez Sr. the way Meldrick Taylor handled that. I don't think Broner has the mental capacity to withdraw and stand that pressure from a person like Chavez. He couldn't stand the pressure from Madonna. So I believe when it
Yeah,
comes down to dog, I believe Meldrick Taylor got more dog than Broner.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Meldrick Taylor. Let's see what Chat GPT say. All right, see what we got here. Early rounds, Taylor takes over early. Meldrick, obviously. Meldrick sets a blistering pace from the start, throwing combination, bouncing in and out. Pause. That was wild. You wild in Chat GPT. Broner tries to shell up and counter, but gets overwhelmed by volume. Taylor banks the early rounds easily. Okay, rounds 5 through 8. Broner begins to time a few counters, especially with his right hand, but he still is not throwing enough. Taylor keeps punching in bunches, never let a Broner breathe. Judges favor Taylor's activity and aggression. Rounds 9 through 12. Taylor outworks him to the bell. Taylor slows a little, but still throws far more than Broner. Broner lands the cleaner shots here and there, but it's too little too late. Taylor's footwork and output carry him to the final bell. Final verdict. Meldrick Taylor by unanimous decision. 117, 111, 116,
Mm,
112, 118, 110. God
mm.
damn. Damn. Yeah, Broner's low output is his Achilles heel against high volume
And
fighters. See, and Taylor's Olympic. Hold on, Taylor's Olympic level footwork and rapid fire combinations would overwhelm Broner's passive style. Yeah, could Broner win? Possibly. If Taylor fades late and Broner lands clean shots, sharp counters. Taylor has been hurt before the Chavez fight, but the chances are slim unless he catches him perfectly.
and you
I
know,
agree. He had to throw body
and
shots.
Meldrick Taylor, he swing punch. He's had like this amateurish style where he's able to steal rounds because he throw punches and flurries. Like Sugar, remember I compared
Yeah,
Meldrick Taylor to like a fighter like Sugar Shane Mosley. They fight the same, just
yeah.
like that. They have a little bounce to them. They work their jab and
Mm,
they throw their flurry.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that. I could agree with that. What we got here? We got the next one. What we got? Adrien Broner versus Oscar De La
Oscar,
Hoya.
Oscar, hands down. Oscar, I see Oscar knocking Broner down too with a left hook. I can see that.
Look, oh yeah,
Because
Oscar's definitely
Oscar
dropping
will
him.
definitely hook off the jab when he fights Broner. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I guess
And look, and he got the height. He got the height and reach advantage, which is crazy. Broner's 5'6", Oscar's 5'10". They will have to fight at 140,
Oscar will win.
obviously, or 147. But I think it would be a better fight for Broner at 140, possibly. Actually, I don't even know. I don't think it'd be a good fight for him in any other weight classes against him. All right, so rounds 1 through 4. Oscar takes the center of the ring, jabs hard and often. Broner tries to roll with shots, but barely throws back. Oscar is too quick with combinations. Broner gets outworked. Rounds 5 through 8. De La Hoya starts landing power shots. His left hook gets around Broner's guard, and his jab snaps Broner's head back. Broner may land a few flashy counters, but throws too little to win rounds. Oscar controls pace, distance, and momentum. Rounds 9 through 12. If Broner's still standing, he's down wide in the cards. They said if he's still standing, they say this nigga's going to get knocked out between 5 and 8. Oscar could go for the stoppage, but Broner's tough and might survive. Still, it's one-sided unless Oscar fades badly, unlikely at this weight. And that was at 140 or 147. Final verdict. Oscar De La Hoya by wide unanimous decision or late TKO. 118, 117, 118, 110, 117, 111, 119, 109. God. Or Oscar turned up TKOs round 10 through 12. And you know how Oscar get in that 12th round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Broner can win. Only path for perfect counter shot. Oscar completely fades. If you notice, there's a trend now on every single person that says, does Broner have a shot to win? Right now, they have him losing against everybody that we've done this against, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oscar wins 9 rounds to a minimum of 3, possibly stops Broner late with volume and body work. So you see this right now, right? All right. What's next?
Yo, in the chat, I'm looking at the
Who we
chat.
got?
Glasses decent. Chat GPS is not using Prime Broner though. That's the missing of variable.
It is using Prime Broner. There's 100% using Prime Broner. They only use the Prime fighters in their primes because that's who the best
That's
they
a
are.
fact. They take fighters at their best, and that's why they tell you the
Yep.
weight class the fighter would have the advantage in too. Oh, come on, man.
Yep. They give
Pernell
you the full
Whitaker.
breakdown. Give it a shot.
Pernell Whitaker all the way.
You notice I put him against people that we probably would consider
But
legends.
yo,
You know
wait a
what I'm
minute.
saying?
I got a dream matchup for you too before this is over with. I want to do Oscar De La Hoya versus Sugar Ray Leonard.
I actually have that on the
Okay.
list too, but we just haven't done it
Copy.
yet. Pernell
I got
Whitaker.
Pete. I got Sweet Pea all
Uh,
day.
I'm just gonna go. I'm not even gonna read the round. Let's go. Pernell Whitaker by shutout
Come
unanimous
on, man.
decision.
Come on.
Shutout. Now you want me to read the
Okay.
score? Look, 120, 108. I've never saw a score like that.
Yo.
119, 109, 118, 110 at best for Broner. At best for
Damn.
Broner. Broner wouldn't land anything meaningful. He's too slow on his feet, too inactive, and too dependent on fighters who come straight at him. Whitaker will frustrate, outwork, and embarrass him. Could Broner win? Could Broner win? Not realistically. His only chance would be landing a perfect right hand, but Whitaker faced better punches. Chavez, Trinidad, Hurtado, and still barely got touched. Final summary. Whitaker wins easily. This is one of the worst matchups Broner could have. yo, ChatGPT smoked him on that.
What about
smoked
Cotto
his
versus
ass.
Broner? Cotto
Who?
versus Broner.
We did Cotto and Broner.
What about and what ChatGPT they had
Man, we're going Adrien Broner, Floyd Mayweather.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
So look, we're gonna go straight to it. We ain't even gonna waste no time. I know Scatty here. This is the Scatty's. That was Scatty's message. Chat GPT is not using the right Prime Broner. Yes, he is. They are using it. Like, what at this point? What is Prime Broner? Ask yourself really that.
When he was
because he was still in his prime when he lost to Maidana.
135.
That's when he was the youngest. He was like what 22, 23. That's not prime. He
was one of the youngest world champions. You remember he was one of the youngest world champions.
Yeah, that wasn't his prime yet, though. You ain't in your prime at no 23 years old.
Hell yeah, you in your youth. Hell yeah, remember.
Bro, you don't hit your prime until you like 29.
Mike Tyson was in his prime when he was heavyweight champion at 18 years old. 18, 20 years.
Prime, I don't believe that was his prime. I believe prime is like from 27 to about 32.
Man, your prime is
maybe
your prime in the sport of boxing is when you at your height, when everybody knows your name and you're being marketed and
well, that's you to be a star.
I mean, that's your prime. That's your prime. When you that's your prime. When you're able to make whenever you make a head whenever you're fighting you and you're headlining, okay, you're in your prime. You're in your prime.
Yeah.
All the greats have had a headline.
Not if you
all the greats were a main event.
If
you were ever a main event,
not if you headlining a bingo hall, bro. Not if you headlining a bingo hall or a gymnasium at a high school in pro boxing. I don't fully agree with that. Anyway, final verdict. Hold up. Final verdict for Floyd Mayweather and Adrien Broner. Mayweather wins by a dominant unanimous decision. It's just like the fucking Whitaker. 120, 108, 119, 109, 118, 110. Broner simply doesn't have the tools or IQ to outthink Floyd. And since both are low volume technical fighters, the better technical by a mile runs away with it. Could Broner win? Extremely unlikely. He doesn't have the volume to overwhelm Floyd, the footwork to trap him and the timing to outcounter him. His only hope would be a flash knockdown, which Floyd has never suffered officially in his career. Yeah, so let's go to a more recent fighter.
What about Spence versus De La Hoya?
Oh, you want to get to that? You don't want to? You done with
I'm
Broner?
done with Broner, man. He lost every fucking fight on the fucking GP.
Exactly.
It's over with him. Okay.
Sugar Ray Leonard versus Oscar De La Hoya. Who
both
wins?
of them were Olympic gold medalists. Oh man. Damn, I don't know, man. Oscar, Sugar Ray Leonard, he was a slick fighter who had like amateur.
Yeah.
He had like an amateur style fighting, with flurries and things like that too. but I could definitely see Oscar De. You know what? I got Oscar because I remember when, yo, Tommy Hearns was beating Sugar Ray Leonard in that first fight. He was beating him. He
Mm-hmm.
even gave him a cookie because he kept the jab. The jab was really working for Tommy Hearns when he fought Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
And Sugar Ray caught him with a nice shot and hurt him. So, yo, I got Oscar De La Hoya. Maybe split decision.
That's gonna be. I think for me that would be a tough one. I could go either way. Because Oscar can give you those late round flurries too, and
Fact, but
and,
Oscar
and
works behind that jab, and we all know Oscar has a
yeah,
longer reach than Sugar Ray Leonard. And he could not only can he work, he
that's.
could definitely work behind a jab. He could also hook off that jab too. Again,
I
Tommy
think
Hearns was
I
beating.
think I, I think Tommy Hearns might have been a better matchup for Oscar De La Hoya.
Nah, Hearns,
No, not a
Hearns already
better
had a one
matchup
two.
because I think that would
He
be a
had
tougher
nothing but a
matchup.
1-2.
That might have been.
Tommy Hearns just had a 1-2. That's it.
But that 1-2 hit was enough to
I
keep
mean,
niggas off him
Well,
though.
you're right. I can't say bum ass fighters because he knocked. He again, he was beating Sugar Ray
Yeah,
Leonard.
like I say,
He
don't you
knocked
can't
out
say
Roberto
that.
Durant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's see what ChatGPT
So
say.
would Sugar Ray Leonard by unanimous decision 116, 112,
I
117,
agree.
111, 115, 113. Leonard pulls away in the second half of the fight with his superior footwork combinations and ring IQ. Oscar keeps it competitive early but doesn't adjust as well and slows slightly late, just like in real life in close fights against Mosley and Trinidad. I kind of agree with that. I kind of agree with
I
that.
just
Could Oscar win? Yes, if he controls the jab consistently and doesn't
that's
fade.
it.
He builds an early lead and stays disciplined for 12 rounds, but Leonard's ability to shift gears and dominate late makes him the favorite in most scenarios. I might actually kind of agree with that.
I
You
believe
know what I'm saying?
Oscar
That,
would again. I think he would keep Sugar Ray Leonard at the end of his jab. Again,
yeah,
Hearns did
yeah,
it. I watched
yeah.
Hearns
All right,
do it,
so
and I believe Oscar would be in much better. Younger Oscar was in much better shape than Tommy
yeah.
Hearns was. I believe Tommy Hearns he wasn't in the best shape. Oscar De La Hoya was in his best shape.
Yeah. All right, so the next one, I got another surprise one for. This is probably going to be the. I know you said actually this would be one, and then we get into that last one you said you want to
Okay.
get into. Andre Ward versus Roy Jones.
You talking prime 168? Oh my gosh! I gotta go with Roy Jones, man. I gotta go. With Roy. Roy was powerful in both hands, even though he tested positive
I'm going
shit
with
for
Roy too.
PEDs though. But yeah, I don't really know. But I got that Roy 168. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, yeah, because I mean Ward was definitely super technical, but I got Ward in this. So what they got, so round 1 through 4, they say Roy's speed dominates early. Then rounds 5 through 8, that's when Ward tries to adjust, and then 9 through 12 is asking can Ward close the gap. Final verdict: Roy Jones Jr. wins by unanimous decision 116, 112, 117, 111, 115, 113. Roy Jones Jr. at 168, obviously you said it, 168 was nearly untouchable. He made a world-class fighter look average. Andre Ward would give him a strategic, disciplined fight and make it close in moments, but he was simply wouldn't match Roy's explosiveness and athletic dominance. Could Ward win? Yes, but only if he made it into a dirty inside war with and kept Roy stationary. Roy's reflexes declined slightly, and Roy got overconfident as he did later in his career. But an absolute prime Roy, speed and unpredictability will be too
Mm.
much. Yeah, so they saying wins rounds out of 8 to 4 rounds or 9 to 3 by unanimous decision. So Roy wins with flash, speed, clean punching, but Ward makes him work for it. I could see that. I could definitely see that for sure. All right, so you had one more too, didn't you?
Yes, I did, sir.
Who you got? Who is it?
I'm trying to figure I'm
Who do
I'm
you
thinking
think?
about something else right now too. Um,
Wasn't it Andre Ward and Canelo?
um, no, damn, that was a good one. Hold on, I'm trying to think about
You
what
talking
about
about Broner?
Madonna versus Canelo?
Madonna versus Canelo. I got Canelo in that fight. I don't even think it's even close.
I don't know. Let's ask ChatGPT. Madonna can fucking fight, bro.
Yeah, but against Canelo, I don't think if Triple G couldn't be fucking Canelo, I don't see Madonna beating them. And hold on, what weight class is
Cotto
Madonna?
versus Madonna.
Oh, Cotto
Yes,
versus
Cotto
Madonna.
versus
I
Madonna,
thought you
not
said
Canelo. Cotto versus Madonna.
Cotto versus Madonna. That would be actually a really good fight, and that'll be a fire fight.
Right.
That would be a fucking great fight.
Cotto coming to fight, Madonna coming to fight. They both will meet in the middle of the ring.
That would actually be a great
Cotto
fight.
has more boxing skills. So Cotto could slug, but he could also box too. I seen Cotto get hurt, then he started boxing.
Yeah, this will be a tough one. I want to read how this whole shit plays out on this one. All right, so how the fight plays out: welterweight, prime for prime, rounds 1 through 4, hot pace, even early. Madonna comes forward with wild, aggressive, trying to overwhelm Cotto. Cotto stays composed, counters with body shots and short hook. Madonna lands a few wild shots, but Cotto's sharper punches wins most early rounds. Okay, rounds 5 through 8. Cotto adjusts and takes control. Cotto begins to time Madonna's looping hook shots, uses angles and combos. We already can tell which way this is going. The jab sets up a left hook to the body and head. Madonna work rate slows as Cotto digs to the ribs and uses his ring generalship. Rounds 9 through 12 could be a war, but Cotto's class shows. Madonna never stops trying, but Cotto's cleaner punches, defense, and body work will wear him down. A late stoppage is possible, but more likely a clear decision for Cotto. Final verdict: Cotto by unanimous decision. 117, 111, 116, 112, 118, 110. Cotto's technical body punching and jab will frustrate Madonna, while Chino is always dangerous and makes it ugly. Cotto is cleaner and more polished fighter with more tools. Could Madonna win? Yes, if he turns it into a full-on brawl and lands big and early. Cotto gets cut or hurt and fades late, which has happened before. I think Margarito won in the Pacquiao fight. The fight is at 147. Madonna fights dirty like he did with versus Broner or Mayweather. Still, even in a dogfight, Cotto had more polished, better ring IQ, and superior technique. Yep. Cotto wins with smarter, sharper, more punishing boxing through Madonna, but Madonna will make him earn it. Yep, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that analogy. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, good shit, man. Word. So, all right, man. Definitely, y'all. This is all we got for y'all this week, man. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like always, every Thursday, either at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. We will let y'all know. Y'all will get the notification. Just subscribe to the channel. You get the alert that'll let you know when we on live. All right, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in. KEKE, as always. Appreciate you for always being here for your bro. You know what I'm saying?
And we here for each other, man. Each one teach one too, man.
You already know. Pause, though, just in case niggas get crazy in the comments. All right, nigga. Well, we out of here, man. We appreciate y'all. See y'all next week. Oh, actually, you might see us Sunday because we got a fight this weekend. And depending on how that go, KEKE might get pissed off and say we going live like he did with the Keyshawn Davis shit.
Love the whole Keyshawn Davis situation. That was a must.
Yeah.
That was a must. I couldn't wait a whole week. Now we got to talk about that shit now.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. But anyway, y'all, like and subscribe to the Broken Mute Button Network. Follow us on all social media platforms at Rumble Ready Podcast. Love y'all.
Are loved and respected.
Yep, all views